Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the fourth week of October 2024. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any newspaper in America and beyond. Singer and actor Jack Jones died October 23, 2024, at a hospital in Rancho Mirage, California. He died of leukemia at the age of 86. He sang the theme song for the hit TV show The Love Boat, and he guest starred in a 1980 episode, too. Jones is being remembered as a crooner who had hits like Wives and Lovers, The Impossible Dream, and Lady. Baseball player Rudy May died October 19, 2024, of complications from diabetes at the age of 80. He was a pitcher who went to the 1981 World Series with the New York Yankees, and he also played for the California Angels, Baltimore Orioles, and Montreal Expos. May is being remembered for his devastating curveball. Journalist Tom Jarriel died October 24, 2024, at the age of 89. He spent almost 4 decades with ABC News, including as a correspondent for 2020 and anchor for Weekend Report. Jarriel is being remembered for his coverage of Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford and of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scientist Dr. Warren M. Washington died October 18, 2024, in Colorado at the age of 88. He was one of the world's foremost experts on climate science, serving as an advisor on the subject to 6 U.S. presidents. Washington is being remembered as a trailblazer who, in 1964, became only the second Black meteorology PhD in U.S. history. Musician and songwriter Phil Lesh died October 25, 2024, at the age of 84. He played bass in the Grateful Dead. He was a founding member who remained with the beloved band for their entire 30-year career. Lesh is being remembered for co-writing and singing lead vocals on some of the band's songs, including Box of Rain. Music producer DJ Clark Kent died October 24, 2024, in Greenbrook, New Jersey. He died of colon cancer at the age of 58. Born Rodolfo Franklin II, he helped launch the careers of artists like Jay-Z and the Notorious B.I.G., and he produced music for Mariah Carey and others. Kent is also being remembered as an influential DJ and a devoted collector and designer of sneakers. Actor David Harris died October 25, 2024, at his home in New York City. He died of cancer at the age of 75. He was one of the stars of the cult classic movie The Warriors, playing the young gang member Cochise. Harris is also being remembered for his performances in such TV shows and movies as NYPD Blue and A Soldier's Story. Screenwriter and TV producer Jeri Taylor died October 24, 2024, in Davis, California. She died of natural causes at the age of 86. She was best known for her work with Star Trek, beginning as a writer and producer on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Taylor is also being remembered as the co-creator of Star Trek Voyager, who advocated for its captain to be a woman, leading to the creation of the popular character Captain Catherine Janeway. Hockey player and executive Bill Hay died October 25, 2024, in Calgary, Alberta, at the age of 88. He spent 8 seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks in the 1950s and 60s, including their Stanley Cup-winning 1961 season. Hay is also being remembered as the former president and CEO of the Calgary Flames and the former chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame, as well as a member of the Hall of Fame. Reality TV personality Sarah Danser died October 22, 2024, in Kahala, Hawaii. She died of injuries sustained in a car accident at the age of 34. She was known for her appearances on Naked and Afraid, the unusual reality show that throws its stars into survival situations while unclothed. Danser is also being remembered for her survivor's spirit in 2 seasons of the spin-off series Naked and Afraid XL. Filmmaker Paul Morrissey died October 28, 2024, in New York City. He died of pneumonia at the age of 86. He collaborated on the films of Andy Warhol, including Chelsea Girls, Space, and Lonesome Cowboys. He is also being remembered for his own films, such as the cult favorite horror films Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula. Morrissey was a U.S. Army veteran. Basketball player Jerrod Mustaf died October 28, 2024, at the age of 55. He was a star of the University of Maryland Terrapins in the 1980s when he became one of just 19 of the school's players to rack up 600 points in a season. Mustaf is also being remembered for his NBA career with the New York Knicks and the Phoenix Suns. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Sportscaster Jim Donovan died October 26, 2024, in Cleveland. He died of chronic lymphocytic leukemia at the age of 68. He was the voice of the Cleveland Browns, calling play-by-play for the NFL team from 1999 until his retirement just this year. Donovan is also being remembered for his work as a sportscaster for the Olympics and for World Cup soccer. Movie producer Lynda Obst died October 22, 2024, in Los Angeles. She died of COPD at the age of 74. She helped many popular movies make it to the big screen, including Sleepless in Seattle, Interstellar, and Flashdance. Obst is also being remembered for her advocacy for women in the film industry, helping talented newcomers get a foot in the door of good projects. Football player Lonnie Warwick died October 28, 2024, at the age of 82. He was part of the Minnesota Vikings' Purple People Eaters defensive line in the 1960s and 70s. Warwick is being remembered for helping the Vikings go all the way to Super Bowl IV. Musician Manuel Guajiro Mirabal died October 28, 2024, in Havana at the age of 91. He was a trumpeter with the Buena Vista Social Club, the band that sparked a renewed interest in the music of his home of Cuba in the 1990s. Mirabal is being remembered for his award-winning music, including his acclaimed 2004 solo album. Actress Teri Garr died October 29, 2024, in Los Angeles. She died of complications from multiple sclerosis at the age of 79. She was beloved for her performances in movies like Tootsie, for which she was Oscar-nominated, as well as Mr. Mom, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Young Frankenstein, and many more. Garr is also being remembered as an ambassador for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, helping the world better understand the disease she lived with for decades. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 1 year ago this week, actor Matthew Perry died at the age of 54. He was a sitcom star best known for his role as Chandler Bing on Friends. 4 years ago this week, actor Sean Connery died at the age of 90. He starred as James Bond in 7 films about the Great Spy, and he won an Academy Award for his performance in The Untouchables. 5 years ago this week, actor John Witherspoon died at the age of 77. He was known for his roles in movies like the Friday series, Boomerang, and Vampire in Brooklyn. 11 years ago this week, musician and songwriter Lou Reed died at the age of 71. He led the influential band The Velvet Underground and had such solo hits as Walk on the Wild Side. 22 years ago this week, musician and DJ Jason Mizell, better known as Jam Master Jay, died at the age of 37. He was part of the groundbreaking hip-hop group Run DMC, known for songs like Walk This Way and It's Tricky. 31 years ago this week, actor River Phoenix died at the age of 23. His acclaimed films include Stand By Me, Running on Empty, and My Own Private Idaho. Singer and songwriter Scott Weiland was born 57 years ago this week. He died in December 2015 at the age of 48. He was the frontman for Stone Temple Pilots, known for 90s rock hits like Plush, Interstate Love Song, and Sour Girl. Actor John Candy was born 74 years ago this week. He died in March 1994 at the age of 43. The comedic actor starred in such movies as Uncle Buck, Stripes, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Actress Barbara Bel Geddes was born 102 years ago this week. She died in August 2005 at the age of 82. She was best known for her long-running role as Miss Ellie Ewing on TV's Dallas. Actress and activist Ruby Dee was born 102 years ago this week. She died in June 2014 at the age of 91. Her decades-long career included roles in A Raisin in the Sun, Do the Right Thing, and American Gangster, for which she was Oscar nominated. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Alabama have been lowered to honor the memory of Jasper Mayor David O'Mary. Flags in Indiana have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senator Dennis Neary. Flags in California have been lowered to honor the memory of Lieutenant Commander Lindsay P. Evans and Lieutenant Serena N. Weilman. Flags in South Dakota have been lowered to honor the memory of former state legislator Dennis Denny Ray Pearson. Flags in Illinois have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Corporal Heriberto Ortiz, who was killed in action during the Korean War. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in Illinois have also been lowered to honor the memory of State Police Trooper Corey S. Thompson, who died in the line of duty. Flags in North Carolina have been lowered to mark 1 month since Hurricane Helene struck, and in remembrance of the 95 North Carolinians who were killed by this unprecedented storm. Flags in Maryland have been lowered to honor the memory of former state delegate Dennis C. Donaldson. Flags in Ohio have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Speaker of the House Joanne Davidson. Flags in West Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Navy Lieutenant J. Ross Manown, Jr., who was killed in action during World War II. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in Pennsylvania have been lowered to honor the memory of Lehighton Borough Mayor and retired State Police Trooper Clark A. Shorty Ritter. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senator Frank M. Ruff, Jr. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. You can also follow Legacy.com on Facebook and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.